Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What Do You Say Anime? I'm your host, Peter. On today's episode, we will be doing a mailbag, something we've never done before. And I thought, this might be kind of fun to answer questions from our community, whether it's anime, manga related, or just plain old fun. Joining me today, we have Miles and Pat. They will be answering the questions along with me. So, gentlemen, I want to say thank you. What we're going to do is kind of do like a little introduction. This is your first time, last time watching us. You can kind of get to know us a little bit. So we're just going to talk about like what our favorites are for the anime sphere and then jump into our questions. So the first question that we had was, what are your favorite anime, manga, OST, and characters in general? I can start here. My favorite anime is Violet Evergarden. Manga is Berserk. My favorite OST is Made in Abyss, specifically season 2. But I do think all of them are fantastic. And my favorite characters are Reagan from Mob Psycho 100 and Sarsa Watanabe from Kageki Shoujo. Miles, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm Miles, and I'm gonna have a very wholesome list, just like Pete. My favorite anime is Devilman Crybaby. Uh,
It's my favorite shoujo.
I knew where this was going the second you said wholesome.
um, my favorite OST is the Mobile Suit Gundam Wish from Mercury OST,
Thanks.
and God, I don't know. My favorite characters, they can change any day. I'm gonna say my favorite antagonist I know pretty easily is Makishima from Psychopaths. And maybe it's just because a picture of her is staring me in the face right now, but I'm gonna go with Suletta Mercury currently. But that is possible to change for my favorite protagonist.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. And I'm Patrick, and I would also say Violet Evergarden is one of my favorites, but I'll go with Gurren Lagann, just to be a little different. Favorite manga is Rurouni Kenshin. A shout out to Domestic Girlfriend as well. Really fun one. Favorite OST is probably either Violet Evergarden or Bebop. Really liked Kill la Kill's soundtrack too when I was thinking about it. Like all the rock really fits the show very well. And then my favorite character probably will go with, let's go with just something different for the sake of it. We'll go with Kaga Coco from Golden Time, I think.
That is different.
It's different. She's up there. I know. I had a couple of them in there, like Sakata from Bunny Girl Senpai. I think is a really fun character as well. Nia from Gurren Lagann, but let's go with Kaga Coco. I think she's really fun. So
awesome. Well, that is our introductions, and we're going to get into our questions. These were submitted to us by our community through different various means: Twitter, Discord, YouTube, everything. If you want to join our community,
carrier pigeon.
Well, that was weird, but yeah,
I know.
It kept like knocking on my window. I'm like, "What do you want?" And then it had a note, and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you, Socks." Well, yeah, if you want to join our community, links to our Discord is in the description below. So let's get to our first question. And speaking of Socks, this comes from Socks. His question: Dear What Do You Say Anime podcast, long-time listener, first-time caller. Do you find yourself watching anime with a different mindset when you are doing it for Watch Club, or to review it when you are just simply watching it? I feel like with Secret Santa, I put myself in a much more critical mindset, so there's something to discuss that's outside of the way I usually watch things when just doing it for fun. So I'm curious if there's a difference for the members of the pod given the frequency with the shows that you view a more critical lens. I guess I can start. I think for me, it's sort of just kind of just how we structure our episodes and how we talk about things, sort of just like evolved how I consume the media. So, there are things where I miss that I rely on other people for, and then that makes me get a different viewpoint of those shows. And with that, I kind of start looking for other things in the show. That way I can bring it to the table, and so we can like converse with it. So I think I wouldn't say that I never not paid attention to the shows I watch, but I think I pay more attention to shows that I watch, and therefore I kind of have a more critical viewpoint because I am trying to like look for specific things for us to talk about. So I think that's just sort of how it all come together. And then just now this is how I consume anime and just media in general, pretty much. How about you, Miles?
Yeah, so most of the time I watch club shows the way that I would watch anything. There are going to be two key differences here. So normally I do like to have like a critical eye and everything. I try to, think about the work relatively well. But sometimes I put a lot of effort into it. Lots of note taking, lots of looking things up, lots of, all of that sort of stuff that comes with it, rewatching things. And that is if I think I'm going to be a hater for something that's popular, is one of those scenarios.
You want to bring the
Um,
receipts, yeah.
Yeah, like I think the best example of this for me would be my bunny girl senpai section, where like I knew everyone loved it, and so when I started watching it, and I was like, oh, like I actually think this is like kind of mid. I did a lot of effort to make sure all my thoughts were organized and that I was correct on everything that I was thinking about, and that my criticisms were something that I like had firm belief in. The alternative to this, the I guess exact flip of the coin, is sometimes when I like the bad shows, I will put a lot of effort into defending that, so that I can just say complicated words and sentences to people to confuse them and
Me.
make my point seem better than it really is. But like I think a good example of that would be something like Yuri Is My Job, where like I really looked into like S-class tropes and references and things that happened there in order to at least make the case that it was a well-made piece of media, even if it wasn't people's cup of tea. And so that's sort of when I try hard, but most of the time I'm watching things like I would just normally watch them.
Yeah. And I feel like Watch Club completely changed not just how I watch anime, but TV in general. Like just by, I feel like I'm almost always in the same mindset. Obviously, there are certain shows, that they're a little bit more brainless that I turn it off for. But in general, like I feel like now I just watch shows through a critical lens, and obviously that's where the how much I enjoy it versus how good I think it is, those can blend together into the same score still and impact the score pretty significantly either direction. But I feel like, yeah, I'm pretty consistent now with just every single show. I'm like looking at like, oh, was this smart? Did this make sense? What was going on here? What were they trying to say? What was the message of the show, etc. Which, I mean, I've always liked critiquing and I don't know, I guess reading in general or watching TV, but now I'm even more picky, I guess, or more critical than I used to be.
For sure.
So it doesn't really ever turn off,
Yeah.
other than when I'm watching, I don't know, Chicago Fire, and then I suddenly become a
Well, then you're taking notes, right? Like dedicatedly, like
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Then I'm really locked in. I go from
yeah,
locked in to really locked in. Yeah, no.
the script, right? You're like, what was the stage direction on this scene? I wonder why he entered stage left. That's interesting. That's
There usually is a reason too. It's pretty fun. It's a well written show. No, I'm not.
Well,
gonna do that
I think
right
we
now.
all know what Pat's answers will be for the next question.
oh,
but,
for the
yeah, but I think real quick though, I think viewing things through a critical lens, I kind of like with Miles, with shows that I don't enjoy, I try now to find a reason why people do enjoy it to see if I can view it through a different lens. Because a lot of times if I'm watching, say, like a seasonal, and if I'm not having fun with it, I'm dropping it like immediately. But if it's something through Watch Club where I'm watching an entire series, especially if it's something that people enjoy, I definitely try to go out of my way to try to why people are enjoying this. And I think your example for Yuri Is My Job is a really good example because there's a lot of great reasons why the show is well constructed and stuff like that. So I definitely tried to go into with like now, even if it is critical, a more open mindset for things that I'm not necessarily my cup of tea. And I think because of that, I can see a lot more in this medium because of it. So I'm really happy with what we got with Watch Club and kind of like how it's changed my viewpoint. So, well, let's. I'm gonna let Pat answer this question first. But if it was Watch Club, what non-anime would you want to watch for Watch Club?
Yeah, so I was gonna jokingly say Chicago Fire, but then but for like a real answer,
Chicago Pete.
yeah, Chicago
Lone
PD.
Star 911.
Yeah,
Blue Bloods, excuse me. No, Lone Star's not a real show. Let's get out of here with that. No, if I could actually choose something though, I think I would like to see us do some Tarantino stuff. Like I don't know, maybe that's such an oversaturated area of I guess
feel
film criticism.
personally attacked.
That was not intentional. All right. So to be very fully clear, like what my original answer was Django or Inglorious Bastards. Those are two of the best movies I think I've like ever, and I adore them, and I would love talking about them every single goddamn scene of them. And I think that would be a really fun watch club for us to all do. Because outside of that, I really haven't or maybe Dune. Dune would be another good one.
be
I would
sick.
love to talk about Dune. It also follows our theme though too, where it's like, oh, there's older source content, and like trying to compare it. Maybe it would fit pretty well because I don't watch a lot of American TV otherwise, other than sports. So yeah, this was a tough one for me. But yeah, I think Django or something Tarantino-esque would work.
What about you, Miles?
Yeah, I think that I would. It's tough because like a lot of the Western things that I watch are pretty long form, but I just really love Scrubs.
That would be fun to watch.
I know. So I think I would make everyone go through all 8 seasons of Scrubs. That's what I would do.
Wow.
Yep.
That is it. That, I mean, I love Scrubs, so don't get me wrong. I like it, but I don't know if I would want to do. Well, how would we do that? Like blocks of episodes?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it would be sort of impossible, I guess. If I if I wanted to pick something shorter than Scrubs, maybe I would just just do like okay, here's the answer. I would have us watch specifically season 3 of Community without any context or anything. So we're just jumping in and watching exactly season 3 of Community.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's a good answer. Okay. Mine is a little bit of a meme, but it's also a show that we have done for Watch Club and it's something that I would like to continue. I want to watch New Moon. I want to continue our Twilight Saga. That episode was super fun. We got Burly Cat's wife to join us, and she was like a Twilight expert. So if we had any questions, she was there to like answer it. And I think by the end, at some point, the podcast must end. And when that podcast time ends, I would like us to have watched all 5 Twilight movies.
Our last episode should be Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse Part 2 for sure. Yes, and then that's how we ride into the sunset, and then the sun will literally dissolve us, and then it's over. Yeah, it'd be perfect, right?
Okay.
Oh, because we're vampires.
Yeah, we're
okay,
vampires,
I get it.
yeah.
Okay.
If 3 people comment on this video saying they want us to watch New Moon, we will.
It would be for April Fools.
You can't be one of those people.
Damn it.
And your mom can't be one of them.
Oh, come on. She leaves the best comments.
She does. They're very funny.
Okay. Good. I like everybody's answers. Let's move on to our next question. This comes from, that last question was from Jay, by the way. So moving on to our next question is from Writer Sharp. He says, what is the biggest anime blind spot you want to fill? And we sort of broke this into 2 questions. So it's a personal blind spot of animes that we're missing in our library, and then shows that we think are missing from anime in general. So I'll take the lead on this one first. I'm missing out on a lot of like classics. Like I haven't seen Bebop, haven't seen Utena, I have technically started Legends of the Galactic Heroes, but there's a lot of like these prime all-time classics that I have not watched yet, and everyone but Bebop will probably be consumed at some point. For the bit, I can't watch Bebop, but I think
I will Venmo you $7 if you watch Legendary Girl Utena.
Add 4 zeros without decimal points, and then we can talk. Hey, maybe you'll win the Powerball. Who knows? But true. I think shows that are missing the blind spot. I think that are missing from anime in general. I call these like dramas showcasing specific industries. So with like Oshino Ko blowing up, I think it'd be like a good idea to showcase different industries. We had stuff like Shirobako that showcase how like anime is made. We had like Space Brothers to see how like astronauts do things, and Oshinoko with like behind the scenes with like Idol and acting. So I would like to see more dramas around specific industries or businesses or something along those lines. I think we're getting one next season called Trillion Game, which is like it's like a business style anime. So like I'm really looking forward to like those type of shows. I think it would be very successful in our sphere. Who wants to go next?
Okay, just to keep the pattern, I suppose then. So my blind spot is I'm going to call things that take a while. So, shows that are like, I don't know, more than 2 cores. I'm just like pretty busy and have a hard time like getting through those just because of the amount of anime I can watch if I'm trying to keep up with like seasonals for the podcast plus like our Watch Club shows and stuff. So if I'm watching anything like ancillary, it's hard for it to be long. So, there are a lot of things like that that I would like to get through, like some more Gundams. There's a few things like, but it's just anything that gets longer than, like Cardcaptor Sakura is one of them that I would like to watch. Anything like that, even like, because like I haven't watched a lot of like the big three sort of things, but like there isn't a world where I watch those just because of how many episodes there are.
For sure.
And so if I could fill some gaps in that, that would be great. Like I think I've only ever watched one show that's more than 100 episodes. And I don't know how common that is, but I know plenty of people who have watched a lot of shows that are that long. So, for me, that's sort of an area that I need to get on. For a spot in anime that I think it could use more of, I'm gonna say like specifically murder mysteries. We have a few.
Ah,
We have like Odd Taxi and stuff, but I want like Knives Out, Murder on the Orient Express type of murder mystery in an anime. You have like a whodunit. You try to figure it out. The whole community could get in talking about like theories and everything. I think that would be like fun. I know there are some manga
you want
that are like
Astra
this.
Lost in Space?
Is that a murder mystery?
It's Among Us.
Okay, fun. Then yes, I want Astra Long in Space. What I want exists.
Long in
So I'm gonna
Space.
switch my.
that's the porno version of it.
I'm gonna switch my blind spot to Astra Lost in Space.
Yeah. All right. And I'd say, I guess for my blind spot, I feel like I've watched a good, like, I guess a lot of different shows from different genres. So some very big specific ones. End of Evangelion. I keep putting it off. I know I will watch it, and I'll get to it eventually. And then Pecan mentioned it as well. Legend of the Galactic Heroes, I really do want to watch. That's I think that one would give me a lot of insight into a lot of the modern anime, a lot of modern, I guess technically not Gundam, but like Gundam / mecha / space battle warfare, whatever. I think that's that's just like a must watch. It feels like, and so I just gotta watch it, right? As for blind spots, I guess specifically in the sports category, then it feels like there's just some big sports that they haven't done yet. Good example would be hockey. Pretty popular in Japan to not have a anime done for it yet as well. Obviously, it's not nearly as popular as it is here in the United States or in Canada or in Europe, but like it's a growing game over there. Same with lacrosse as well. It's, one of the biggest growing sports in the world. I'm surprised to not see. And it seems like it would fit. Both of those sports are so high contact and physical. It would fit the anime style pretty well. And then lastly, like golf, actual golf, not girls playing golf, or cute girls playing golf. Sorry, caught myself. Like the Birdie Wing, Soriro utility. Like, oh my God, they're cute girls. I think there's a lot of drama that could be done around that in the sports world, especially the professional circuit. How difficult it is. These guys are traveling so many thousands of miles every week, playing for their livelihoods and etc. I think that'd be a really cool anime to see, or something that anime could do a really good job with, I think. So yeah.
Hopefully one day we get Dogs Red animated, the guy who did Golden Kamuy, and get an ice hockey anime, because that's definitely up there for my list. And the second fastest growing sport in Japan is rugby, and like the 2 rugby animes we have are ass. It's like a really good rugby anime would be sick too. Okay, moving on to our first non-anime question. This comes from Cosette, and I'm gonna start with Pat. Pat, if you saw your girlfriend at a convention, the question is, how would you pick up a baddie at an anime convention? But since you guys are both in relationships, I'm gonna ask you, Pat, how you would pick up your girlfriend, and Miles, how you would pick up your wife at an anime convention.
So I have to go first.
You have to go first, yeah. If you saw your girlfriend and you were single, how would you say, what's up?
Knowing her, I would say, hey, are you lost? because she would not be in an anime convention. But I don't know. I guess I would just talk to her about Spy Family or something else along those lines that, one of the more easier to get into shows that I've started to get her to watch with me, and, hit her with the, and it's great audio content, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer this. I'm good at picking up women. What the hell? Why do you think I'm on an anime podcast?
Yeah,
For Christ's sake.
Maybe this will inspire somebody to not do something at an anime convention.
Okay, for the general advice on how to pick up someone at an anime convention, don't force a conversation. Let it happen naturally. If they start talking to you, or you make eye contact and you can just start talking, be normal about it. Normal people are not normal at anime conventions, so you will stand out in a good way to whoever you're talking to, in my opinion. So, I guess I can't say that it's ever worked for me, but I never really tried it either. But I think that would be the best way to pick up a baddie at an anime convention. Miles, have fun with this question, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so my wife and I met at a Halloween party, right? So she was dressed as Kimberly, the pink Power Ranger, and I was dressed as an evil bunny. It's a long story. Anyways, then a couple more Halloween parties happened, and so this is what you do. So you go to this is not real advice, by the way. You go to anime conventions. You go to the circuit. You see the regulars, right? You scope them out, and then you hit them at your third convention with a "Hey Kimberly," even though you know that's not her name, because you remember her costume, right? And she's like, "Oh, were you that evil bunny?" And I'm like, "I sure was, but now I'm dressed as Maverick from Top Gun. Isn't that a much cooler costume?" And then you start to talk, and then she's like, "Oh, I was in England, doing something with fossils or whatever. This is a real story." And so then I go, "Oh, are you into fossils?" Because I was going to name drop my dad, who's a PhD in geology, who does a bunch of stuff with fossils or something like that.
Nerd,
and then, yeah, for sure. And then your friend comes up and goes, "Did you just say you were into fossils? Did you just ask that as a pickup line?" And laughs at you. And then 3 years later, you get married.
Nice.
That's how you pick up a baddie at an anime convention.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Talk about rocks. All right.
Yeah, talk about rocks. Bochi the Rock, I guess, might be helpful at an anime convention.
Yes. My answer, so I think you've mentioned this a little bit. So a convention is multiple days. So it's not
there it is.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You want to plant the seed on day 1, but you want to take action on day 2. Day 3 is Sunday and you're hungover. Don't do anything on Sunday. So the key is to set, like Miles said, pick up on who's there. Also with Pat, let it happen naturally. For me, this is actual advice. Talk about shoujo stuff. It legit works. Talk about Fruits Basket. Girls love Fruits Baskets. They love it. And if you know anything about it, they will talk to you. Whether it's just making a friend, it doesn't always have to be something more than that, or whatever comes after that. Yeah, talk about Fruits Basket. That's my legit advice to people. Don't mention you have an anime podcast. That's don't do that. Also, real advice: smell good. Legit, wear deodorant, but yeah, I know it's crazy.
Just be a normal person, right? Again, it's just you will stand out being normal in a anime convention.
No, for sure.
There are so many abnormal people there in the, I guess, the least derogatory way I could put that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but hygiene, but not just deodorant, but iron your shirt. Little things like that get you noticed. Wear Jordans. Don't wear plain black New Balances or something.
Whoa.
Sorry, it's true. Little things like that will make you from an anime 6 to an anime 8. And that's how you pick up baddies at a convention.
What if you're at a convention in LA and you're an anime 8 but an LA 4?
Well, yeah, are you in the yeah, that's why you plant the seeds in the convention.
In the convention. Okay.
Yes. Outside the convention, I hate to tell you, no chance. But inside the convention, there's a glimmer of hope.
I
would also love to hear a female side of how to pick. What's the male version of a baddie?
A baddie?
A hunk, probably.
Hunk. How do you pick up hunks at an anime convention? I'd love to hear the other side of this.
Smile
I
at
hate
them.
everything about this.
Why? It's fun.
I just do. I just feel like, I don't know. We don't need to get into it. Conventions are hard enough for women anyway.
True, they're getting better. I guess from the ones that I've gone to are pretty good, but no, for sure there are horror stories. I definitely Don't be weird. Watch shoujo and talk about it and smell nice. That's how you pick up baddies at a convention. And then if you got a vibe, you got a vibe. If you don't have a vibe, let it go.
Do you need a deeper shoujo pool than Fruits Baskets? Or how far would you say you get off of on just having Fruits Baskets in your back pocket?
Man, I don't want to say lie to the girl, but you could say that you watch a lot of shoujo and then just mention Fruits Basket, but
it sort of sounds like you're saying to lie to them.
Well, okay. This will get me in trouble. Everybody, it's a game. You're playing a game to start out with. But
so what you have to do is, if you lie, you then, before you call them or anything after the con, watch a bunch of shoujo.
There we go. Lie to start out with, but then retract that lie and make it a truth. And then
there it is. Yep.
And maybe get more versatile like anime knowledge and stuff, and who knows?
What you should do 100% is, and I think we'll all agree to this, is change who you are and what your interests are to make someone like you.
Yes, everybody does it. Like like acting like we don't all do it is silly.
And that's the moral of Fruits Basket.
Yes. Thank you. You watched it.
That's why Toru Honda changed so much as a human.
Yes, she just lied all 3 seasons.
Yes, and she constantly lied.
She was a pathological liar. It was crazy.
She was like, "Oh, I care about you guys."
As you can tell, I watch Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
No, just be nice and friendly and whatever. And who knows? If somebody's interested in you, you'll know. And if you don't, if you can't tell, then I'm sorry, you're boned. But
you're also going to strike out more times than you succeed. Like that's okay, and that's okay. I don't know, right? Like, and be willing to accept that you struck out, right? Like that. Like, don't be if it doesn't pick up right away, let it go.
Yes.
Like Pete said earlier, like do not follow, do not talk, do not keep pestering them. Let it go. Like Pete just said to you, you will know if they're interested. Let it go if they're not.
Also, picking up baddies, you can pick up a baddie who's just a friend. Like having baddies as friends, they can introduce you to their other baddie friends. And it's a win-win for everybody. So
I hate all of this.
I do too. I do too. It was a fun question though. Thank you.
Thank you, Cosette.
Cosette. That was
she wanted to know. She wanted to know. It's not on we answered truthfully. Moving on to the next question, let's get back into actual anime. What non-Japanese story would you like to see made into an anime? Miles, you want to start?
Sure. I almost feel like for whatever reason I have an answer to this question already prepared. Like I might have said it already. Yeah. So I have like 2 answers for this. One, I am contractually obligated to say that there is a web novel called Worm by J.C. Wildbow McCrae. Go and consume it in some fashion. It's not exactly a realistic option here because it's very long and it's not like a property that has any money behind it or anything. You know, it would have to be some eccentric billionaire as a passion project getting this done. For, I guess, like a more realistic answer, I would like, there is a webtoon called Nevermore, which is sort of there's these like people who have died that are going through some sort of trial sort of scenarios in the afterlife. It's sort of like a magical school scenario. It's heavily themed around Edgar Allan Poe literature, as you can tell by like the name Nevermore. There's Lenore and Annabelle Lee are the 2 leads. So, you know, it sort of has that going for it. It sort of has like a late 1800s gas lamp era vibe to it, which I really dig, and just sort of a gothic horror vibe, which I also like. And you know, we've seen webtoons and stuff get done before, so something like that would be good. I would like that a lot.
All right, how about you, Pat?
So first, the most obvious one, Ruby, because it's never been done before. It totally hasn't already had an anime made for it. Yeah. That I think. Yeah. Boo. Yeah. No, that one. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was not what I wanted it to be at all. Pretty good for Ruby, I guess, because that's what it usually is. But I guess a more real answer would be I feel like there aren't a lot of Greek myths or any like I guess, Mediterranean mythology in general that has been used by anime. Like obviously they had that boarding school Juliet. I guess that's a sequitur, I guess, but like they did that where they used the Romeo and Juliet, or they used like a classic story from Europe as a baseline, but then they never really went anywhere with it. So I guess a good example would be like Orpheus and Eurydice. I think would be a really fun story to see done in an anime. Gilgamesh, and actually Gilgamesh, excuse me, not just the Fate version or Babylonia in general. There's a lot of really cool stories and mythos there that I think would be really fun to see in anime. Almost, I guess, what's that? What's a Gate? Is it Gate? Is that the anime that takes a bunch of random warriors from like different times and puts them against each other? Or what?
No,
That's
it's
Drifters, right?
Ragnarok something.
Oh, Record of Ragnarok.
Yeah,
That's like
Record
an
Ragnarok is-
arena battle type of show.
Yeah,
Is
but
that
it does like Adam versus Zeus.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Adam from Christian mythology or whatever.
But yeah, so like, I guess something like, rather than that, give me something that actually just follows the story, or is like a historical fiction retelling of those sorts of myths. I think would be really fun because it feels like there's not many of them other than just being name dropped and then or inspired to be like to be then turned into an anime girl like poor King Arthur. You know,
I'm gonna say it was better that way.
I won't. Like, sorry, I don't know. King Arthur, a great example too, and Lancelot, and like that the whole Arthurian mythology is so deep with stories, and like how cool would it be to see that animated in an anime style with, I don't know, any sort of flair that they could provide as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Gotcha. You want like a Vinland Saga style where it's more serious and actual telling of the story rather than something like Seven Deadly Sins, which uses like Lancelot, but he's an 11-year-old boy or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, Vinland Saga is a great example or a comparison, I guess. Yeah, that's a something like that with actual Greek myths or Babylonia. Anything would be really fun.
All right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. For me, my answer has been this since I've seen the movies and got into anime, and I think it already would work. We have shows kind of similar to this, but I think adapting into a series would be really easy, and that's the Fast and the Furious. I think you could just make like a super shonen version of Fast and the Furious, and it would be, you got Initial D, you got Licorice Recoil. Like you take those elements and put it into like a Fast and the Furious franchise for anime, I think it would work really great. And anime already is just wild and crazy, and how the story is going in Fast and the Furious, you could just like, it makes sense in anime. Like to me, Fast and the Furious is an anime. It just happens to be live action. So that would definitely be my pick. And that was from Preston, by the way. So shout out to Preston for that question. Our next question coming from Tone Dog. This is a two-parter. What is the most disappointing anime you've seen in the following category? 1, you personally were hyped to see, and then 2, what the community hyped up. So we're also do like our positives on this as well. So for me, recently there's a few shows last season, I think it was, or 2 seasons ago. Sasaki and Peeps was a show that I really liked the first season, and it fell off so hard. It was insane how hard it is. Other examples would be like also Wonder Egg Priority I was so disappointed by how that show ended, and The Promised Neverland season 2. I'm a huge slice of life guy, so there was one called Let's Make a Mug that I thought was going to be like Laid Back Camp or like DIY, and it was a show about like losing your mom. And I was like, what is going on? And the big one, like high budget, high studio, was Talked OP Destiny. That one had like 2 mega or producers with it, or companies animating it, and it was just straight ass. But a show that I was super hyped to see that lived up to its expectations was Frieren. Like it knocked it out of the park. I read the manga and I think it was better than the manga. It's my number 3 anime of all time. For the community that hyped up, so shows that like I haven't seen, the community was really hyped up for. First one was Kill la Kill. Did not like Kill la Kill at all. The community is very high on it, and I think it like looks beautiful, but I don't really like the show at all. I think an easy answer would be like Attack on Titan as well. Just, I mean, that was like at one point it crashed Crunchyroll. It was like the number 1 anime all time. I think one of the episodes is like the highest rated on IMDb, and I just couldn't get into it. And also Bleach, I don't understand why this is in the big three. Like I legit, the first arc of Bleach is dog water. I also couldn't think of one that was like the community hyped up, and I was like, yeah, this is it. So I don't have an answer for that one. Miles, how about you go next?
Yeah. So, I guess like a show that I was looking forward to that the community had really hyped up that ended up disappointing me. Not to undig some graves here, but Violet Evergarden was pretty disappointing to me. While I ultimately enjoyed the show, I feel like everyone in the world besides me sort of has it like nailed to that like masterpiece.
Yeah, who could that be?
Sort of the both of you. Uh, and
Oh, literally tattooed on Pat.
yeah, and for me, the show was very pretty and had some good moments, but like ultimately, like rang a little hollow. Like, alternatively, a show that I didn't have a lot of like, I don't even remember why I started watching it, to be perfectly honest. But it's like a pretty big mainstay for me, and this is a very popular show. But I definitely wouldn't say it's like critically acclaimed by the community or anything. Like I love the quintessential quintuplets. I just think it's good and it makes me happy. So,
That's all that
that
matters.
was yeah, that's something that I wouldn't necessarily have expected to like, but I ended up enjoying a pretty good amount. Something that lived up to the hype. I'll go with the Oshinoko anime. We're watching season 2 right now, and I really, like, I think it's just a step up from the manga. Like, I think it sort of even surpasses that hype that it had. Just the way that they do the direction, they add a couple of touches and stuff. There was stuff with like Aqua fading in and out of dust as he like talked to his past self, in like one of the more recent episodes that I don't
So good.
recall from the manga, and like so there's just like touches to that to sort of like bring to life these manga panels in a way that is more fitting for like an animated screen. I think they did like a really good job there. And then like I guess like a more recent thing that I guess people hyped up that I was a hater on, I'm going to say that I had faith in. I remember watching the episode with an open mind, and that was a mistake. Is the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really like you or whatever. That show is bad, and I'm going to stick to that until I die. It's not good.
Good answers. Good
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah, a show I was personally really hyped to see that disappointed me. Kind of made a joke about it with the last question, but the Ruby anime, it looked really good. Saw it at Anime Expo, the trailers and things. It looked really like it was going to be a lot of fun, and then it kind of just fizzled out very quickly. It seemed like, and Japan loves Ruby as well, so it was very disappointing to see. Like,
They got like Shaft to do it too, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And again, it wasn't like awful, but it was like it was looking like it was going to be like an 8, 9, or a 10 something. And like I think I have it at a 7 simply out of like spite for the fact that it's Ruby. Like it really was frustrating as a fan, a huge fan of the series. As for something, and that's what I was personally hyped to see. As for what the community really hyped up that I was pretty disappointed in, I think the best example would be God of High School. Like that was hyped up so much.
It was.
And it like so much that I watched it. And I like the music was good and the character designs were pretty cool, but it kind of sucked. I don't know. And then I guess we'll catch some flack for this one too. One Piece is a good example too. Man, why?
I said
Why?
Bleach, so
You said Bleach. You also said Attack on Titan, which I agree with. I remember liking Bleach when I watched it on Toonami, but I also didn't know a single character's name or anything, so I guess I wasn't that into it.
Well,
And then the other, sorry,
Bleach and his partner Clorox.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there is Bleach. Yeah,
Mr. Clean comes in later.
Yeah.
Scrubbing
and the
bubbles. Yeah.
And then I guess the last one,
Billy Mays shows up.
R.I.P. He sacrifices himself for Clorox. It's nuts.
He does. It's
the Thousand Stain arc. We're a very serious podcast.
I want that anime.
yeah.
The last anime too that the community really hyped up that I wasn't too hot on was Horimiya. I don't know. I didn't hate it as well, but I just was not like, oh my god, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Like it felt like the community was. As for shows that I was really excited to watch that really did deliver, I think I kind of stuck with like Watch Club shows for this more specifically, but Haruhi and that like really like blew me away. I couldn't believe that Haruhi blew me away, but I was really really hyped about it. And so much so that I watched like all of it within like a month. And then so the last one would be what the community hyped up that also then delivered. I guess ping pong probably, right? Like ping pong the anime, like
That's a good
that
one.
one. That one I not a big sports anime guy. It's ugly as shit. And so that's not usually good for me either, but I still loved it so much. I think that's a good one to end on. I guess I had a couple more disappointments. Akira and like Ghost in the Shell. They're
Akira's a good one. I just didn't get it really.
Same with Ghost in the Shell. Like both of them, like they're in the same vein for me where I could not connect to it at all. And like Kanye loves it. So like how do I not love it? You know, like it inspired him so much in his life and I could not follow it at all. And he's not that much older than me, you know, like or whatever. I don't know. Like it was just
Might be a
that
good
one
thing.
felt for sure, of course. I'll never write graduation though.
Neither will I.
I will.
Someday. With the monkeys on the keyboard thing, right? Or the typewriters.
We're just going to put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, so like those ones are disappointing to me that were really hyped up by the community too. Like I don't know.
Good answers. I like your guys' answers. That was really good. All right, next question. This one comes from Mike from the Anime Protagonist podcast. He asks, which anime character would be your dream guest on an episode of your podcast? Anyone want to start? Otherwise, I have an answer.
Okay, I have a controversial take.
Okay.
If we need to fucking edit this out, that's fine.
No, run it.
Okay. I want the fucking Major on from Violet Evergarden.
Oh,
so
wow. You want like a Maury Povich episode?
I want to fucking interrogate him about his relationship with a minor who is his military subordinate, okay? Because there are some conflicting information here about what happens there, and I want to get to the bottom of it because I'm either right or wrong, but I must know.
Jerry. Yeah, because I was also thinking, like, how did I want the episode to be structured? Like, do I want it to be like an interview, or did I want it to be like Jerry Springer or Maury Povich, where like you are the father, and everyone's like, "Oh, motherfucker, yeah, I got your ass," and stuff like that, and then we could have like a guest spot in the below or something like that. But I didn't go that. I didn't go that route.
I want the chance to be right.
Yes.
This is the most important thing to me, right? So, like, you have any character from a show that we've had debates on, what it was their motivation, yada yada. You know, like Char. I'd love to get Char on here
That'd be
so
sick.
we can finally figure out how far in advance he planned that assassination of his twin guy. You know, just any of the moments where we've like had a debate about a character or their motivation, I want them in. I want both the sides to line up. I want us to cross-examine this character and figure it out. That's the main gist of it.
That reminds me of like the Potato Gang versus when we did like the Sasha versus who's the chick from AOT?
Sasha.
Oh, Gabby. When we did that episode,
Aaron,
we had like two sides and then debated. That would be a sick ass episode. Something like what you said. Pat, how about you? What's your idea?
I went a lot dumber and simpler answers for me on this one. I would love to talk to the manager from Zombieland Saga or Spike from Cowboy Bebop and have Spike just go through his life and talk to us about it. And that'd be fun. I would also think the Major would be a fun guest because he would finally tell you that he never fucking touched Violet. So there you go. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I liked your answer a lot though, Miles. Like it would be nice to finally be able to settle some debates that we've had.
Yeah. So for the content, you know?
Yeah.
That's good.
That would be fun.
Would you moderate it, or would you want like an anime character to moderate the discussion?
Well, I can't moderate it because I'm heavily biased in all the examples that I came up. Like if there was like let's say you and Jay had a fight between someone and that's who we got, right? It's like, oh, we couldn't quite get the Major, he's a little bit too big, but like someone else we could get. Okay, you know, like Char's too famous, so we have to get someone else. Like I would be happy to moderate that, but I don't want to like because I would ask pointed questions. I would be like, when you told a 13-year-old child soldier that you loved her, what did you mean? Like,
what did you mean by that?
What was your intent there? And why did I'd be a dick about it. So like I would want someone who is who is a good arbiter of justice.
That's what I was trying to think. Like, who would be? Okay, so stay with me, because even though her scale is Aura, but maybe we can like twist it, but it would be Aura from Freeren, and she could have like her scale, and then that way we could determine who is like the winning side based off of whatever logic we want to use.
Okay, that is almost how those scales work. And
it is almost.
Yeah,
I'm pulling a little bit out my ass.
It's pretty close. And then also we could ask her like, hey, how would we pick you up at an anime convention? And we can finally get an answer for how to pick up a baddie.
I have the answer for that.
Oh my god. With the scales,
yeah.
Right?
I would hide my Aura, yeah.
Oh, her name's Aura.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I just put that together.
Bro, you watched and read the story, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's fine. We got there.
Anyways, Pete, who do you have on, buddy?
Okay, so my answer is a little bit different, because I would want to structure the episode. I think a lot of people who are into anime at some point would like to go to Japan. Like, that's like a for sure dream. And then sort of have like an episode.
Yoru Camp Girls.
Okay, don't step on my touchdown call, my bro.
Sorry.
Tony, shut up.
All right. Yeah. Well, now it's ruined. But have like an episode devoted around like travel and food in Japan, and I will get Nadeshko from Yoru Camp, and we could discuss like her travel habits, and maybe have Rin as well, and talk about traveling in Japan and eating food and what type of things to make and stuff like that. I think that'd be like a really fun episode. But I was also thinking the Maury Povich line, and I was also thinking Violet Evergarden, but like you, I'm biased on the other side, and I didn't want to bring it up, but then you brought it up, and now we're fighting.
I just want to like highlight how much I love these answers really quick. Like Pete has like I like to travel, I like these slice of life shows. Pat's like, I like the good energy, like vibes, and I have the I will be right no matter what. It will ruin this.
You are a groomer, admit it. This is To Catch a Predator instead of like an anime podcast.
Miles, did your parents ever tell you that they loved you when you were 15 years old?
Yeah, like, okay, yeah.
I get more.
Let's go. We're fighting.
Like, yeah, fight. Yeah,
fight.
Risky question. What if they got really dark?
Yeah.
Next question. No, murder, fuck, kill. Okay.
No, I like rocks more.
Okay. Great answers. I loved it. Let's move on to something a little bit more happy. This is a 2-part question coming from Gianna from the Shoujo Sunday podcast. What is your guys' gateway anime that made you want to watch more, plus your favorite dessert? Pat, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, okay. So that's what the secret part of the question
That's the secret part of the question that I didn't tell you.
Okay, I like that. That's easier than the first one. In a good way, though. I'm still just struggle with it. I'm stalling right now because I can't think of an answer. I guess I'll start with my gateway anime. Sword Art Online definitely was one of the first anime I watched knowing it was an anime, or like intentionally because it was an anime, I guess. Like I watched Naruto growing up, and I'd have Toonami on eventually, like random times and stuff like that. But Sword Art Online really got me watching it in high school. And then the fall, I kind of cheated with this answer, but the fall 2018 season in general,
that's a good answer.
Is what really made me a seasonal watcher, because it had Zombieland Saga, Bunny Girl Senpai, Goblin Slayer, SAO's newest season for the first time in like 4 years in Alicization, Iraduku, The World in Colors, Golden Kamui, a second season of that too, like because I had already watched the first. Like that season really got me watching seasonally. Great season in general.
I love that.
I know I missed a few shows as well. Answer. Thank you. And then my favorite dessert, I really don't have much of a sweet tooth, so I guess my answer would have. Actually, that olive oil cake I had like 4 days ago was really good. So I'll go with that. Let's go with that. Although probably ice cream. I know it doesn't sound good, right? But then when you get it at a fancy Italian restaurant, it changes your life. Like I am, I am blown away by it. No, it's actually probably ice cream. I like ice cream. Fudgicles. Oh,
Yum.
that's can never go wrong with those.
I'm gonna let Miles go last on this one. So for me,
Okay.
I think I've stated a few times on the podcast that I was sort of, when I got into anime, I was sort of in a space where I was kind of sick of like regular TV shows. I watched what everybody else watched. Like was watching like, Game of Thrones and Sopranos and Breaking Bad. And like, I liked all that, but I was getting like really burnt out. And I really couldn't find something that I wanted to. And then my friend introduced me to Food Wars. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I've never seen anything like it. I thought it was like stupid, but like insane at the same time, where I just wanted to keep watching more because I didn't know what was going to happen next. And that led me down this stray of watching anime. And then like, I think I went from like, actually I know this. I went from Food Wars to Yuri on Ice, which are two polar opposite shows, but those are like the two that like really got me into anime. Yuri on Ice and A Place Further Than the Universe are like the two that like started the podcast, because that's how I met old co-host Adam, was through us talking about Yuri on Ice. And that was my gateway. And then I started watching like a 12 episode show a day for like a year and a half or something like that. It was nuts. I was mass consuming anime. My favorite dessert is donuts. I love donuts. I can eat donuts every day for every meal. If they don't have donuts, like if I'm at an actual like restaurant, it's creme brulee. A good creme brulee where it's like crunchy on the top, but like warm on the bottom, where it's a little bit like pudding. Ooh, girl, that shit is good. Miles, what's your answer?
Yeah, so this is an anime I've already mentioned today, but the anime that really got me into anime, the gateway anime would be Devilman Crybaby. Yay!
Yeah.
What a normal answer. Um, I I had I had watched like a few anime here and there just as part of watching popular shows. So like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, couple of other things. I can't remember the exact order of things, but I saw Devilman Crybaby on Netflix and watched it, and then I watched it all in one day. Then it ended, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" And I like called a bunch of people and like told them about it, because like I just had never seen anything like it. And so I really think it illustrates well what the medium can do with its with animation. It's not exaggerates things in a way that only like animation can. It's also like, I guess it was the opposite of everything that I like knew about anime, right? Like, the good guys lose. It's like very dark. There was the power of friendship did not work. Like
Yeah.
that whole thing, just sort of hit me, because that's not a theming that you see like a lot. Like there's not a lot of media that is dark all the way down without glimmers of hope, and that I thought was really cool. So that had me looking for more things like it and getting into the medium. So
That is an insane answer, but I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you found the medium through Devilman Crybaby. You might be the only person like
yeah,
that.
well,
But
through Devilman Crybaby and hating on Shield Hero, right? Like those are that's how I found you guys.
that's how we got there. I love it. Love it. All right. Our
Look
next
at us
question.
now.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me. Next question comes from Rifle. This is a very technical question, a very technical anime question. What would be your dream team of directors, animation directors, composers, studio, etc., that you would want to like essentially create an anime for you? For me, cheating a little bit, my director would be Satoshi Kon. He's my favorite director of all time. Rest in peace to the GOAT. Everything he has made, I have thoroughly enjoyed. I don't think you can go wrong. My animation director, I went with a guy named Shota Goshozono. So if you've seen Ranking of Kings, he was the episode director for the Boji versus Bosse fight. He was a key anime director in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and he was also a key animation director for Chainsaw Man. He reminds me of the guy who directed like Frieren and Bocchi the Rock. He's more of like this up and coming guy who is like everything he's worked on has been like high profile and I just really like his style of how he animates things. If you've seen the Bose versus Boji fight, it's animated very different, and I really like that style of animation that he chose. So for that, my composer for an OST would be Kevin Pankin. He's the goat. He did Apothecary Diaries, Made in Abyss, Tower of God, My Happy Marriage. Like he's my favorite like composer for OSTs. VAs, I gotta have these 4 VAs in my anime. Mamoru Miyano, he's my goat. He's Okabe from Steins Gate. He's the manager from Zombieland Saga. I think he's just absolutely incredible. Also Hiroshi Kamiya, he's Levi from Attack on Titan. He's Aragi from Monogatari. Huge fan of him. And my 2 females would be Haruka Tomatsu. She is 02 in Psyche K. And Sayaka Ohara. She is Lelouch in Sailor Neptune. Those are my like 4 favorite VAs. And then the studio that would make it would be Madhouse. I don't know what anime they would make, but if you get, I feel like you're pouring it into like a witch's cauldron and you mix it up and eventually something's gonna come out good. So that's kind of like my dream team. That's my 92 USA Basketball dream team anime like team.
So the second best USA basketball team to ever exist?
Technically, you're probably correct, but
I mean,
they're the most
they're
the most polarizing team of all time.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I was just teasing. I guess I'll go next. I don't know as many details as Pete does about the ins and outs, so I'm going to keep mine very simple. I do have a lot of similarities with him as well. Mamoru Miyano, I want him along with Seto Asami and Kaito Ishikawa, who are Mai and Sakuta's voice actors from Seiyu from Bunny Girl Senpai. They've also done Raftalia and Naofumi in Shield Hero together. I think that they would be very fun together, along with Mamoru Miyano in some sort of rom-com done by Makoto Shinkai and his studio with Radwimps and Kevin Pankin on the aux.
Love that.
And I'm sure that rom-com would have some sort of fantasy element to it because that's what Shinkai does, or some sort of sci-fi to it. And I think it would be pretty fun. I really don't know where it would go at all, but I think it would be a cool story.
Love that.
Miles.
Okay. Yeah. So that well, yeah, I know. But sometimes we kick it over, sometimes we don't.
Miles, it's your turn to go.
Okay. So I would do
I'm sorry.
Masaki Yuasa for director, who
love
did
that choice.
Yeah. Shows Pat is really high on, like Ping Pong, because he loves that art style and everything. He also did Devilman Crybaby. He does like a lot of things I really like. For an animation director, I picked Ayumu Watanabe, who does like a lot of Doraemon stuff, but then also did Summertime Rendering, which I thought had like really crisp, clean animation and like good fluidity, and did all the supernaturally stuff well, which is a show that I would put together, right? Like I like that sort of thing. I want like a full orchestral composition here, so I'm going with Takashi Omama, who did the score for Witch from Mercury, right?
Oh,
so you
okay.
have like the choir and like the orchestra and everything. He does like a lot of live action stuff. It looks like, not a lot of anime. Like the teasing Master Takagi-san live action movie.
Hell yeah,
like,
he did.
Through it. That, and for the studio, I think I would want OLM to do it. I think they're just like kind of my favorite studio.
They're really good.
Yeah, they just put out good stuff pretty consistently. But maybe, I don't know, I would do Science Saru depending on like what I wanted for the vibe of it. I don't know any voice actors, but for the dub I would want, because I know English voice actors, Gray Delilah to play something. She does like Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender, or the Sorceress from Diablo 3, if you're familiar with such. So there would be a character for her to voice in there somewhere. And that
you'd want this dubbed, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would. In fact, it would be in
dubbed.
English. Yeah.
It wouldn't be an anime.
It wouldn't be an anime.
Only dub. I love that. All right. Next question. We got this one coming from Tyler from the Anime Degens podcast. What is an anime that you want to love but you just can't? And how would you fix it if you could enjoy it? Let's go
Who's going
with Miles.
Okay. Yeah, I think I don't necessarily know, like, because I love being a hater, right? So, like, once I start hating on something, like, I like doing that. There are some exceptions. I feel like I've been like browbeaten about Bochi enough. Like, I wish that I liked it more, just so I wouldn't have to deal with all of the accusations. Because I gave it an 8 out of
You're
10.
never beating the allegations.
Yeah, which means I don't like it. Violet Evergarden might be one where we talked about that, so I'll talk about a different show, which our audience will also be familiar with if they watched our Watch Club episode on this. I'll say Bunny Girl Senpai. Bunny Girl Senpai has like a lot of elements of things that I like. It has a mystery, supernatural, with like a tie-in of like science and everything. These are all things that I like really like. I find the execution to be lacking. I find the themes to sort of be like veneer, right? Like, they don't add depth to it. They're just there for show, in my opinion. The movie it actively made me angry because I did start caring about the characters, and then it laughed at me for doing so, and I don't like that. But like, it does have like all the pieces of like an anime I would like, and they're just like assembled incorrectly. So that's what I'll go with.
Right on. I'm gonna let Pat go last on this one. I have two answers. One, like a short one. Wonder Egg Priority. I think it just needed more episodes. I really think that would literally just solve my issue with that show. Is that, I mean, it got cut like 11 episodes. Like, was planned to be a 2-core. Shit happened. Like, the director got hospitalized twice. They just said, nah, we're calling it here. And they did a 1-episode thing and shut it down. So I think if we just actually did the second core, that would solve it. Real answer is the show called Kokoro Connect. It's like a show where they body swap and sort of have like a murder mystery element involved with it. And this is half of the first season. And then the second half of the season is like a high school drama. And they essentially forget that they were body swapping in the first half of the show. And I don't know about you, but if you were to swap bodies with somebody, you would probably remember it and it would probably affect your life. And they essentially act as if that never happened. So I think a way to fix that show is if the characters, if you still wanted to make it a high school drama, have the effects of body swapping affect the storyline. And I just thought that the story like really dropped the ball in that aspect. So that is my answer. Patrick, you're up.
Full name. Wow. Yeah. So I went with a little bit of a deeper dive into my repertoire here with Jorin, the Princess of Snow and Blood.
Oh,
A show that, like, I think myself and Rifle only are the only people who watched this show when it first aired, and at least in our community, and maybe in anime in general. It was really beautiful, and the concept was really cool. Obviously, historical fiction set in like a Japanese, I guess, alternate history. Like, I thought that was really cool. It's just the final arc undid any character growth that the main character had and removed all of her agency that they built up with her. And so I think giving it a bit more of a budget and also just rewriting the end of the show would help the show a lot, because it also, at its peaks, the animation was stunning, but then there at its valleys it was very piss poor as well. So I think the show could have been really good if it just had a little bit more money and, I don't know, someone other than apparently the director directing it at the final like 3 episodes, because that was one of the most frustrating ends to a show I've ever seen.
Hell yeah. All right. So we have one scripted question left, but I actually have a secret question from me to both of you.
Oh, this is a bonus secret
question for you guys. What is the perfect length for an anime? How many episodes?
24.
Oh, that's 20. Let's go with 20.
20 and 24. So two cores, essentially.
Two core, yeah.
Okay.
20, 26, 24.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Yeah.
20 to 28 would be a good answer, but that's cheating because it encompasses everything. I think that that's a good length. I thought we were gonna do a little joke here, like, oh, 3, it's more than enough. Like,
6
but
seasons
no,
of the movie, duh.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, what about you, Pete? What do you think is the perfect length?
I'm more in like the 3 to 4 core range. I really like to me, I if I'm like really attached to a show, I like it more than just 2 cores. So like I always look back at like Full Metal, Brotherhood is specifically, it's 4 cores. And I thought like it like flowed together perfectly, and I got the longer length that I was looking for in like a show that I loved. But I think if I had to pick one, I would say 4 cores. So somewhere around like 48 episodes.
Okay, I think that's fine. I like my issue is that you're right with Full Metal, right? And there's other shows too that are just like good. But like a lot of things that I've seen that go on for like 3, 4, whatever,
They
how
drag
many
out.
seasons, they drag out at some point,
But
and maybe they pick it back up.
I'll counter it. I'd rather it drag out than not get finished. Like your favorite G Witch, which I think would have benefited. Maybe not like an entire core, or at least a few more episodes would have solved it. But I'd rather it be dragged out, and you could like give me like a Haruhi baseball episode and throw it in there, and like that'd be fun. You could fill it. You could fill the gaps in and still get the content than rather it being cut and missing out on like a full complete story.
Yeah, I would rather see, because like the way that I view G Witch is that they cut out some substance, but what they did was make sure that it all got tied up. Like, because I think pretty much all the major questions get answered, but it just gets done a little rapidly, and the amount of characterization sort of drops off a bit because they're doing a little quick. But I would always rather have that than me just being like, you know what, I really don't like season 5 of G Witch.
Sure.
You know, like this was my favorite show, but now, you know, like why are Tico and Brahe in a Gundam? Like did they run out of ideas? That's a sheep and a yak, by the way, Pat. That's
yeah, that's not what I figured. I'll be honest, that's not what I figured, but I figured it was like something like, oh yeah, like what idiot why would Tito and Brahe be in a mecha? I mean, come on.
Yeah. You know, so like, you know, that's sort of that's always like my fear is that like, you know, if something ends and it's like, you know what, that wasn't the best ending ever, but we got it and it's good, you're done. But if something continues forever, I always live with this anxiety that it will be ruined.
For sure.
And maybe that's just me, but you know, I don't know. Like, and I know this is different between us because we've talked about how we view potential things happening in Oshinoko, and I've been like, this gives me anxiety, and you're like, I'll just move the goalposts.
Yeah, exactly. Agenda over facts every day. All right, well, let's move on to our last question. So we have been doing this podcast. This is currently year 6. The last question: what are some of your favorite memorable and favorite podcast moments throughout the years? This is from Cosette. I have quite a few, so I don't know if somebody has less, but if you want me to start, I can go ahead.
I don't mind starting.
Go for it, Pat.
Because I'm more, I was struggling to come up with like specific moments. I will say, I think it wasn't on the podcast, but getting to go to Miles' wedding was really fun. That was a really cool way to do it, and showing you guys around my a little bit around my neck of the woods as well. That was a really cool way to meet and hang out, especially given it was post-COVID, really the first time I got to do anything like that. So that was really cool. Anytime we do Anime Jeopardy or games, and more specifically from Anime Jeopardy, I think I am so proud of Preston, Trent, and myself for coming up with having me karaoke the anime OPs. That was such a funny bit, and I'm
let me hit the
really
soundboard.
proud of that one. Hit it. That was, oh my god, I still got the full sound bites on my computer, and they make me cry laughing every time I think about them. Watch Club, I think, is memorable every week. I think a lot of our recurring jokes there, and just how much fun it is, and the great group of people that we have is really awesome. I cannot thank I don't think Miles and I thought when we first started Watch Club that it would ever be what it is today. Literally 5 years later, still going on, and I've watched a lot of shows I never would have, and I'm just so thankful for it and all my friends. And lastly, the Twilight and Chicago Fire recurring jokes are very funny. They are really, really good. And Those are my favorite podcast moments, I suppose.
All right, Miles, how about you?
Yeah. First, I want to give a shout out to Pete making a joke about Shikimori is not a cutie
Early
on
YouTube short.
because I don't know why, but I just died. It got me like right where it needed to. I always like moments where someone will say something about a show and it'll make me like think about it in a different way or get like a different perspective on something. I I think I think I say this every time we do seasonal content together, Pete. I say, I'm just happy to be here talking anime with you. So like, that's another, thing. I just like it's a place to talk to people. So like, I like our seasonal, content, trying to guess what we're going to like and everything I think is fun. All of it is good. Pat's jokes about Pat making good jokes.
Thanks, Pat.
Sick plug.
Yeah,
Pat.
yeah. And this is, I guess, the podcast in general, but like just like the community that because we actually have like a little community and it's pretty cool.
It is dope.
There's a lot of really cool people here, and so getting to talk to them and then getting more people on for like guests, like I got to guest with Cosette who asked this question. Like she was, we did an episode together and I loved that. And so just like getting to meet other people to talk to, any sort of like collaborations we've done with like the Sunday Girls or any other podcasts always sent out to me. I think my personal peak of podcasting is on their podcast, so
it was a really good episode.
Go check that out if you want to see me
actually
be good at podcasting for once.
Let me say this. I think it was one of Miles's best episodes. I think it was one of my worst episodes I've ever done, and it had to be on like a platform much bigger than ours. I shit the bed, and Miles killed it.
That's that's it is what it is. But I mean,
that's every podcast episode that we do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've had really bad episodes.
Miles is wrong all the time. Don't get gaslit here, Pete.
Miles actually has one of my funniest bits, so I'll wait till he's done.
Okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
Just to chime off Miles, one of my favorite bits is Miles goes like, well, either you're gonna like it or you're not going to like it. It's like he says it all day, but then sometimes he'll like change the words, but it's still the same thing, like for the next show we're talking about, and it's just like, that's the same thing you said last time, Miles.
I'll just add like a slight qualifier to it. I'll be like, if you like comedy shows, you'll like this show, but if you don't, you won't.
Yeah, but that's like the thing with like record. Like none of this is like. Actually, this is probably like one of our most scripted episodes we've ever done. Like when you're shooting shit off the top of your head, sometimes you freeze and just like, hey, it is what it is, boys. And it's just like, I don't. You think back like 5 minutes later, you're like, I shouldn't have said that, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's just how it is. You mentioned it, like my favorite thing, just like in general, is sort of like the community we built when I started this like 6 years ago. I was just looking for an outlet to sort of talk about anime, and for as much as I love it, I wasn't expecting it, and the fact that we have something like this is like really fun and awesome and something to look forward to. And we have such a diverse group of people where like we can talk about a variety of things. It's not just anime. Like we can shoot the shit about sports or House of the Dragon or politics or the stock market or socks. Like it doesn't matter. Like we can talk about whatever. And
in socks, if you're listening, we talk about you a lot.
Real socks, not the person socks.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I should have made that clear. It is confusing when somebody in the Discord is literally named Socks.
What's your favorite brand of socks? Mine are Dickies.
Ooh. The smart move for picking up
Hanes or something.
Yeah.
All black Pumas. Buy the same pair of socks. Like every pair of socks be the same. That way you never have to like look for it in laundry. They're all the same. So
that's a good one.
Ankle black Pumas. That's the only socks other than like dress socks or something like that.
Ankle though?
Oh, yeah.
I like calves. I like mid calves.
Well, you're a 75-year-old man in a 25-year-old man's body.
Shout out Cabela's wool socks as well. Those are fire. They, especially for us Northerners, they are the best socks you'll ever wear.
I wear Sperry's when I go shovel my driveway. So,
but also diving back to like community when starting this. So like memorable moments, the main and the best episode. That's what started Watch Club. Like that's like the focal point. That's where we started. But like my favorite episode, but also Watch Club episode of all time is the Perfect Blue episode. The fact that like Me and Miles talked about the show for 2 hours before recording, 2 hours during recording, and then like an hour after it. Like, I would have never gotten that without this. So like, that episode to me is just like incredible. Like, favorite episodes, I love the Daily Life of High School Boys episode that we did, where it was a show where we watched it and we're like, how are we going to make like at least an hour of content for this?
And then we didn't.
I think we talked about the show for about 20 minutes and then we just shot the shit, and it was super fun. Like, I had a blast recording that episode, but it was one of those things where like, I thought that we were walking into something really bad. Like, this is going to be like a terrible episode, and it ended up being one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done. Personal moments: Link Click winning and Uma Musume winning. Big moments for me. Dominating Link or Uma Musume for 9 months, and I think Link Click for, I don't even know how many months that was, 5 or 6. Just the personal gratification of that winning was next level. So
and what a payoff too.
What an absolute payoff. And
what a show we all loved. And
yeah, we loved Link Click.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Link Click.
One of them was worth it.
Yeah. And most recent, I think, is gonna be if we have a Hall of Fame, I think it would enter the Hall of Fame. Cat having a stroke during his review of Mob Psycho 100. An absolute goated moment by Cat. I'm sorry, man, you are never going to live that down. That was one of the funniest moments I've ever seen. Just knowing you for how many years I've known you and seeing you sort of having your CPU reboot during a podcast episode, it was pretty damn funny. So I hope that our jokes that we poke at you, or we know that it's all love, brother. But my God, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh man. But that is about it. Do you have anybody have any like final words? Anything that you missed? Anything you thought about from question 1 that you wanted to clarify or anything like that before we head out?
Oh yeah, I actually have something. I've been deleting the questions as I so I didn't misread them anymore. Like, I randomly skipped ahead. Oh, Tyler from Anime Degens. What's an anime you want to love, just can't? So literally like one before this. I never explained what I would do to fix Bunny Girl Senpai.
Oh yeah, what would you do?
No, you didn't.
Yeah. So I think, right, you take away, like you take the main character, instead of one sister, what if you had like 2 sisters, right? And then instead of like science, you sort of do like a mythological sort of ancient history, Japanese sort of thing with a lot of like wordplay involved, right? So you can have like curses that are also like words that represent the trauma that the character is going through. Then you associate each of the characters with like an animal of some sort, right? So you could have like a crab and a snail.
So you want Monogatari?
What a
basket! I thought he was doing.
I was doing I was doing Monogatari because I
fuck you. No, like ha 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 ha. It's Monogatari, guys. Ha 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 ha.
That is actually kind of funny.
It was funny. I didn't expect it. Like, genuinely, it caught me off guard. So that was funny. But
it's been a while since I made the joke. So
it was pretty good.
Anyways, yeah, I guess, we've said it here, but like everyone in the community, people that join us on, Watch Club, Jay and Kat, and people in the past who have joined us who maybe have gotten busy and don't join us anymore. All of you guys have made a lasting impression on me, and I so greatly appreciate it. So.
Oh, I forgot to mention also Secret Santa.
Secret Santa's great.
When I brought up that idea, like 2.5 years ago or whenever we started it, I didn't expect it to. I mean, we started with what, like 8 of us,
6,
9
7,
of us doing it. Yeah, like the first time, and now we're at 25 just for the Christmas and July edition. And I know everyone isn't always free or isn't able to answer like or show up to the meetings, but God, if those aren't like 2 of the most fun nights of the year, I love it, and it's so weird, to sit there and think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dedicate 2 nights of the year, the entire night, to just sitting there, getting drunk, talking about a bunch of shows with a bunch of people that many of whom I have not met in real life. Like, who would have thought that you'd do that? And it's one of my favorite nights of the year, every year that we do it. Or every time we do it. So I cannot thank people enough for being so awesome with Secret Santa and taking that idea and continuing to grow it. And if you want to join us, you should. You should
Yes.
join the Discord. We have an awesome community. We keep raving
plug,
about
Pat.
it for some reason. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, you want to yell at us for wearing socks and Sperry's when we shovel our driveways? Come do it here at the.
And if you can't, I'll do it for you.
Do we still have the cool hyperlink, the hashtag or /anime podcast?
Oh, we have
like
a tier 3 boost now. I could do that.
Yeah. So by the time this airs, go to Discord.
Hey, if you want to utilize a tier 3 Discord server, join our Discord.
Oh, we got a lot of soundboard things too. If that's all you care about,
we do.
We'll be you.
We're more of a Discord that has a side podcast.
Honestly, it just like evolved into that, but it's like, who cares? It's fun. Like, it's whatever.
No, I have a great time.
Yeah, there's people that come in. It's like, you guys have an anime podcast. Like, what did you join our Discord for?
How did you find out about us? Yeah.
It's funny. It's like, I've never listened to an episode of your podcast. Like, that's fine. It's whatever. All good. But yeah, I want to say thanks. I know there's a lot of people that gave us multiple questions. I tried to do it so everybody got one question answered. So if you gave me multiple questions, I think I'm just going to save it for like another episode. I feel like we might do this in like, I don't know, 6-8 months again. And maybe we can get some more fun questions and maybe less anime. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. But thanks to everybody who like submitted questions to us. They were really good questions. I had a good time answering these questions. And and thanks to Miles and Pat for joining me throughout the years. And hopefully we have at least 6 more months together. So here's to us. And I want to say thanks to everybody out there. If you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. Join the Discord. Next week for Watch Club, we're doing Uma Musume Pretty Derby Season 2. Can't wait for that. I saw just the eruption of applause after that one. So that was great. Otherwise, if you're not here for Watch Club in 2 weeks, we'll be doing something. I'll let you know when that happens. So I'll say thanks, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.